Good evening, everybody. I am Principal Dr. BETKAR MM. Welcomes all of you. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur MS India organizing daily international webinar series. In this series, we daily invite the renowned resource persons from India and abroad. They are sharing their knowledge every day on various topics as per their interest. These topics are related to education, law, health, environmental, technical, mindfulness. So, all topics are covered here every day. In this series, today we have invited Bhavana Shrivastava madam, who is AI powered productivity strategist, project management coach from Mumbai, Maharashtra. She will speak on the topic project management in education. Here we are mostly the participants from education field. So this topic is very much useful to all. I request madam, you can share your thoughts on the topic project management in the education. I welcome from my organization and from all my participants joined here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Betkar, for this wonderful introduction. And thanks for the wonderful opportunity to present. So I'll just share a brief about myself before starting with the project management in education, why I chose project management. So I have been a project management professional since 25 plus years. So I have worked globally on many projects, and I have mainly worked with organizations like Tech Mahindra, KLG System. So in the software domain also, I have worked a lot. And then I also moved and I started on my own, wherein I do project management and consulting under Adya Management and Training Solutions. So my journey has been very fruitful because I got to work in BFSI, I got to work in construction, I got to work in engineering projects, I got to work in education, insurance. So overall, I got a vast exposure, and that too, I worked with global clients like British Petroleum, Guardian Life Insurance, GE Energy, GE Transmission and Distribution. So this has really helped in shaping my career. So later on, I also am involved in the education field. Like I offer university lecturing, and I am also a member of ICAI. So I also take up the OC and MCS course for the ICAI students. So my this training assignments range from soft skills to time management to project management to business management skills, communication skills. So this is my journey in short. And now let's move on to the interesting aspect which everyone is waiting for. And even I am presenting project management in education for the first time. So this is very dear to me. So when sir asked me that you can choose a topic, so I thought, why not choose this topic wherein, we can involve the whole education sector also, and we can tell them how project management plays a fruitful role in education. So can you all view the screen? Thank you. So when we say project management in education, we are talking about transforming the educational initiatives through the strategic planning and execution. So Our session here involves, I've just distributed them into 5 parts. So we will say the foundations, like understanding what project management can provide in educational context, then the principles, the core concepts, and the project phases, because the project management is a whole life cycle. Then we will also discuss on the challenges and solutions, because these are the real world obstacles. And I've just come up with one case study because we have a time limit, but we will see a one fruitful case study on curriculum development, and the tools and the best practices which we can use, and of course the open forum where we have our questions and also the key takeaways. So with that, we move forward. Now, firstly, the question comes, what is project management in education? Because when we say education, we think that how we can apply project management here. Now, project management in education, mainly it is applied to structure the methodology. So here, what are the methodologies? We are saying the planning, the executing, the monitoring for the educational initiatives. It can be curriculum development or it can be the technology integration. Now, what it does, it ensures that the resources are optimized. We have optimized utilization of resources, because that is the most important part of project management. Whatever resources we have in place, are we utilizing them fruitfully and in a structured manner? And then we see the timelines are met. The meeting of the timelines is the most important part, and stakeholders are aligned to the project life cycle, because the stakeholder alignment is a very important part. We will also discuss who are the stakeholders in the education sector. Now, effective project management will transform the educational vision into measurable outcomes. So the outcomes have to be measurable. Otherwise, there is no use of the project management in place. We bring the project management so that we can measure the outcomes. So it is whatever we are giving the inputs, how much output are we getting? So we'll set the clear objectives, we'll have the stakeholder alignment and the timeline management, which is very important part of the project management. Now, why project management matters? Why in the real sense we can say that project management is essential? So it can help in improving the outcomes. The output which you are getting will be the structured approach will increase your project success rate. So 30 to 40% in the educational settings. So when you increase the project success, in turn, you get more of output. The resource efficiency will be high because you have better allocation of limited budgets and staff time. Now, here when I say resource, it can be material, it can be non-material also. It can be human resource also. So human resource in case of our teachers, the admin staff, the budget, we all know the cost which is involved in the project, and the time, the staff time which we require for completing that project. Now, accountability. Why accountability is important? Because clear roles and measurable milestones will ensure the transparency. You have transparency, you know who is going to perform which kind of role and who is answerable for which kind of role. So that really helps you. Now, innovation support. Now, there will be a framework for implementing new teaching methods and technologies, because we see how our education sector has evolved, and we can see how it has evolved from the time of COVID times also, right? In COVID times, we all have seen how fruitfully we have utilized the online modes like MS Teams, Zoom, Google Meets, and all this was all used for education. And we know how challenging it was for the education staff, the teaching staff to get accommodated to these changes. There were resistance, but still people tried and upgraded themselves, and we saw how smoothly the function took place. So it was the entire education system came on the online mode, which was not imagined earlier. So we know that how important this project management can be in this kind of scenario. Now we spoke about stakeholder. Now what is stakeholder? Stakeholder is anyone who is directly or indirectly connected to the project. So it now in case of education sector, we can say the primary stakeholders can be the students, the teachers, the administrators. The secondary can be the parents, the board members, the community partners, because we have a wide era here where everyone is getting involved. Now, influencers, the policymakers, the funding bodies, these can also be a part of the educational stakeholder mapping. And this is a very important aspect because we spoke about the stakeholder alignment. So we always want to see that all the stakeholders are aligned to that project and to the project goals. Now we see how to effectively manage the educational projects. So the first thing is we will say SMART goals. Now we have to set something as specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. Because whenever there are time-bound goals and your goals are SMART, it is very easy to ensure the clarity and focus on the project. So you can just focus because everybody, all the stakeholders will be having the same goal. The same goal, everybody aligning to the main project goal is very important in project management. So we'll set the SMART goals and align the project goals. Now, work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure, it is a very important aspect of project management. You're breaking down the projects into smaller tasks. So what happens? You will enhance the manageability and the organization of the projects. Now, for example, you are designing the curriculum. Now, the curriculum design can be for multiple projects, multiple subjects. So it can be for science, it can be for maths, it can be for English, it can be for social studies. So I can have this all breakdown into different work breakdown structures so that I can track each subject individually in that large project. So breaking down into WBS really helps us in tracking our projects because then we can even break down the tasks accordingly. So the task will also, you can break down to the micro level. The more you have the breakdown of the task, it is more easy to manage the projects. Now, timeline and scheduling. You have to visualize the timeline. So this can be done with the Gantt charts because Gantt charts will help you to track. It will help you to track the timeline. It will help you to schedule the projects. Now, next comes communication management. We all know communication is the most important factor of any project, or I can say anything which we set up. The first thing, even in the corporates, is that communication skills is desired. So in the project, It is the most important part because clear communication will foster more collaboration and it will prevent the misunderstandings. Like when we spoke about stakeholder alignment, communication management is also one of the important factors there because everybody will know what role each person is performing, and with clear communication you can move the project ahead without any issues. Then comes the risk management. Now we know that risk is involved everywhere, right? So in projects, risk management is a important factor. We identify and we mitigate the risks. So that what it does, that will ensure that your project is stable and you can achieve almost 96 to 97% success in the projects because you have already identified the risks, you have already noted them down, and you have already set up the mitigation factors that how you can mitigate these risks which are a part of your project, because some risks are, it can just come like a disaster thing. It will just come. Earthquake is not going to tell anyone that it is going to come, but if it comes, if there is a flood, if you find that there is absenteeism of the staff. So all this will come under your risk management because in turn it can reduce or it can increase the timeline of your project, which again can have an adverse effect on your project, your budget, everything. Now we see there are some of the challenges in the educational projects, right? So it can be funding uncertainty, evolving priorities, and technology adaptation. Now, what happens in funding uncertainty? There are certain budget constraints, and unpredictable funding cycles create the planning difficulties. For example, you plan for certain thing, but you really don't have the funds, or the funds are not released. So this also can be a part which you can take in your risks also, because risk is also again adversely affect to this your funding uncertainty. Now, evolving priorities. There is a shift in educational policies. It happens that you're doing something and immediately there is some policy which is coming in, and they say that now the stakeholder needs flexibility. So this also is a challenge. This is an ongoing challenge, we can say, in the educational sector, and we have to also learn how to mitigate this risk. Then there is technology adaptation. So there is resistance to change with varying literacy levels among the staff. So what happens? Like, we bring in a new technology and the staff feels that again it has to go through all the changes. Again, it has to, manage the entire gamut. So it becomes very difficult for the staff to level up and go ahead. This we have seen even in the example of COVID times. There were many people who were not aware of Zoom, who were not aware of MS Teams, they were not even aware of Google Meets. So it was difficult for them to, adapt to the technology, then come up with the lesson plan, set it in that manner, come up with the presentation mode because it was all face to face mode, and then coming up with your presentations, grabbing the attention of the students because the attention span of the students is also less. So, technology adaptation is also a major factor of any project, you can say. So, in any kind of project, if there is resistance to change, it is very difficult to apply that technology. So, we have to see how this resistance to change, or how you can bring in the change management in people so that they come and they adapt to the new technology and they take up the aspects of the new technology. Now, the real world example for this can be a blended learning rollout. So, we can say that a district was implementing hybrid learning. It faced resistance from 40% of the teachers because they were unfamiliar with the digital tools. So, what happened? There was a phased program with the peer mentors. So, that reduced the resistance among the teachers. Because what happens? They went in a phased manner. They told that, okay, first we will go with this small part, then we will go with the next phase, then we will go with the next phase. So what happens when you implement something in phases? That is also a part of agile development methodology, wherein maybe the whole thing has not to be given at the same time, but you can give the bits which is required to be done immediately, and you can start up with the technology, because whatever you have implemented, for example, maybe you have implemented SAP, or you have implemented some new tool for presentation. So these all things can be adapted by the person, because the person is not going to take all the 100% thing together. The person is taking first the 20, the next 20, the next 30 maybe, then 40. So it is going on in a phased manner. So it is very easy for anyone to accept this kind of change. So the resistance immediately dissolves. Now we speak about the education project life cycle. Now here what happens? Always in project management, there is initiation phase, the planning phase, the execution phase, the monitoring phase, and the closure. It always goes in these phases. These are the 5 phases of any project life cycle for any kind of projects. Now, I have brought here specifically to the education field. So here, if you see, you can define your scope. Now, whatever is the scope of your project, that has to be very clear. So you can define the scope, you can define the objectives and the feasibility, because that is very important. Even if I want to start up with any kind of project, I should have a clear scope. So this is my scope of work. So in this, if it is the curriculum development, this is the amount of work which we are going to do. The other which is out of scope, we are not going to take up in this phase. So this is how the projects move, and everybody has the full clarity, so there are no misunderstandings in the project. Now we come to the very important phase, that is planning. What happens in planning? You develop the timeline. In how much time? For example, you want to complete this in 5 months or 6 months. So you will define the timeline for that particular project. Now, budget. Budget is very important part. We also saw that that is a part of our challenges also. So budget also is very important, because overall the project revolves around all these factors. Now also comes the resource allocation. How you are going to allocate the resources to this particular projects. मीन्स आप अपने प्रोजेक्ट में कितने रिसोर्सेज डालने वाले हैं, आपके प्रोजेक्ट का बजट कितना होने वाला है, आपका प्रोजेक्ट का टाइम कितना होने वाला है. सो दीज आर थिंग्स विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एग्जीक्यूशन में क्या होता है? वी इम्प्लीमेंट द एक्टिविटीज एंड वी ऑल्सो गिव द प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवरेबल्स. सो आपने सारे जो एक्टिविटीज प्लानिंग फेज में डाले हैं, आप उसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्टेज में लेके आते हो, उस फेज में लेके आ रहे हैं, और हम लोग अपने प्रोजेक्ट का डिलीवरेबल्स देना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं, क्योंकि हियर इज वेयर यू आर गिविंग द आउटपुट, द मेजर्ड आउटपुट फॉर द पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट. Monitoring. What is monitoring? Monitoring is something where you're tracking the progress and you will adjust as needed. क्योंकि project तो हमने define कर लिया. We told that the project will go on for 6 months. But is it going on till 6 months? Maybe the project timeline has extended. So we have to monitor the project regularly. प्लानिंग करने से कुछ नहीं होता. अगर हमने मॉनिटर नहीं किया तो दैट बिकम्स अ वेरी बैड फेस फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट. नाउ after doing anything, the project is always which has a start, which has an end. So the closure is very important. So here we are saying we evaluate the outcomes and we document it. Now, what are the lessons learned? Whatever is in the project, we document everything so that if similar type of issues come in the project, we can again use it. So we will have a similar kind of project, or we can have something where we have faced some risk and how we mitigated it. So all this will come in our project documentation and it will give a closure wherein you're delivering the project. Okay, fine. This is what was decided in the initiation phase. This was the scope, this was the objective, and I have completed the entire project goal. Now this is the most interesting part. I have come up with a case study क्योंकि मैं आप लोगों को दिखाना चाहती थी कि आपको अगर कुछ रीडिजाइन करना है या आप सोचेंगे कि मैं इसको प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट में कर कैसे सकता हूँ या कर कैसे सकती हूँ, तो आपके लिए ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आप एक पर्टिकुलर केस स्टडी के थ्रू आप जाइए. तो इसके लिए अगर आप देखोगे यहाँ पे we have month 1 and 2. Now here, what is our case study? We are seeing curriculum redesign project. Here, what is the case here? Month 1 and 2 is for planning. So I am saying for curriculum redesign, we have told that 2 months we will take for planning. What we are doing in this 2 months? We are forming cross-functional teams. And we are mapping standards to existing curriculum. Because as we saw in the stakeholders slide, we have primary, secondary, we have influencers also. So we have to see what is where we have to map all these people in the team. Do we need all of them or we need only some of them? So we will see and we will map this to our existing project and we will form a cross-functional team which will help us for this project. So in this phase, we are even doing the resource allocation. We are doing the entire thing right from, the initiation, the planning. So in planning, all the work breakdown structure where you are dividing the work into different small tasks also, first into the WBS, then into the tasks. So all these tiny chunks, all this information, what will each task take the timing, what person is going to perform which task, what are the roles of the person, the resources in the project, everything you're going to put in here. Then comes your development phase. Now what will happen? That we have told that from month 3 to 5. Now here if you see, we have taken a waterfall kind of. So we are finishing one phase and we are going to the next phase. So this is called a waterfall methodology. So here we will say that, we'll do the entire development, whatever we have thought, whatever we have put up in the planning phase, we will do the development of the project. So whatever the development phase, now we are saying it is taking from month 3 to 5. So we will do the entire implementation. Okay, this has to be done. Okay, fine, execution done. So this is the execution phase, wherein you're giving your project deliverables. So this is a very important phase of any project. In any project, development also forms a very important phase because this is where you're really giving your project outcomes. Now you see, we said, so here even we are saying that we are creating the new lesson plans, the secured materials. Now there can be the pitfall, underestimated teacher training needs. So this can be a pitfall that also I've taken into consideration. So that in real life scenario, these things happen. Now we are saying month 6 to 7. Here we are saying this is pilot testing. What happens? We have created the thing, but it has to go into the testing phase. So somebody has to do the testing. So the people who are testing, we are saying here, we will be testing it with 2 classes. So we will have some gathered feedback. Some people will say maybe we have to revise some of the content. So in pilot testing, this is a kind of POC we can say, wherein we are presenting something, the project outcomes, and we are trying to test it so that we come up with the final product. The final product will be something which we cannot revise, but this is where in the testing methods you can use, then you can go back, okay fine, this is not okay, I can take it to the next level and I can improve it and I can again bring it back. So I will have my final improvised version of the project. Now, if you see in the month 8, here we have considered a 8 months project. Month 8 is a full rollout. Now, what will happen in the full rollout? This is implemented across all grades with the ongoing support system. Because when you are doing the curriculum redesign, this may be across 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, or if it is for a college, it will be around the 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year. So the phases of the project will be different because you are implementing across all grades with the ongoing support system. So you have already done the planning, the development, the pilot testing, and now you are saying it is good to go ahead. So you have obtained the final approval from the stakeholders, the approval holders. It can be the principal, it can be the HODs of your particular subjects who can give the approvals, and they will say okay, it is okay and you can move ahead, and this can be implemented across all the grades with our ongoing support system. Now if you see, this was the challenge. This is a mid-sized high school which needed to update curriculum to meet new state standards within 8 months. So if you see, this entire planning is done to overcome this challenge. So what result we got? The result is 95% compliance with the new standards. हमने 95% achieve कर लिया with the new standards, which is a big success, right? In any project, it is a very nice success. 78% teacher satisfaction. Now we have to even see how our stakeholders are satisfied, because that is a very important thing. That's the reason this curriculum redesign was done. Now, even we get the improved student engagement scores. So you see, all the stakeholders, right from the top to the bottom. So if you see, who are our main users? The main users are the students. Who are going to teach them? The teachers. And when you have this 95% success, it is so overwhelming to any institution that, okay, this has been submitted with so much vigor that we have got so much percentage of satisfaction of the teachers as well as the students. So when we get the improved student scores, that is also a very big success to any institution, any educational institution for that matter, because that really brings the success standard to the next level. So with this case study, I think you will be very clear on how it is implemented and how it gets to move forward. Now you will say that okay, fine, you have got all this in place. You can do the curriculum design, you can do everything, but how should I move forward? This can be your question, right? So for that, we will see what are the tools. So before coming to the tools, I would also like to say that there are different methodologies in project management. One is the phase project, which you see here, and then if you have some software implementation or some learning LMS system management, that will go in the agile development, where you go on giving the outputs, and it doesn't go in this manner. So for example, one part of that will be in the planning. So immediately the development of the first part will start. So it goes hand in hand. So even you will get the output, so that maybe one phase is ready, so that person can start using that phase of the software. So it becomes easy. That is called iterative approach. And there is also a hybrid in which we combine this phased project as well as the agile method. So this both methodologies are combined, and that gives you the hybrid approach. So hybrid approach is used in almost many of the organizations also, and of course in educational systems it is a norm. So coming to the project management tools. Now, I have not bought in all the tools here because it will be very overwhelming and difficult for us to understand that how we can, implement it and how we can come up with. So I've just bought some simple things. So for now, we can say visual boards, Gantt charts for tasks tracking and team collaboration. So we just want to, have some Gantt charts to see the progress of the your project, so that you can do even in Excel, you can do in Google Sheets, you can even use Microsoft projects also. So what happens here, you will get the timelines. You will visually see your project in place. You will know that okay, this is how my project looks. So this is a sample Gantt chart template, which I just thought, maybe this can give you a good view of how you can manage your tasks in Excel, or there are many Gantt makers also, Gantt chart makers also, free ones, so you can even use that. So this is a very simple. Now here is company name, it can be your educational institution. The project lead's name comes here, the project start date, the display week. So these are phase one. Like we spoke, we saw the initiation phase. So here this task is 75% complete. So you can see it has completed till here. And you can see how they have defined the start and end date also. So it is starting from 1st Jan 2018 to 4th Jan 2018. So this is how you can split up in the different, these are the different WBS. The phase, if you can see, is the WBS, and these are the different tasks. You can see if it is 60% complete, it has been indicated here. So this is the 60% complete phase. Then you can see 50% complete. This task is overall completed, so it has been indicated. So this is how, Gantt chart helps you in having a visual board of how your project is going on. So this is a bird's eye view of your entire project. So this is a very simple way. आप यहाँ पे Gantt chart में अपने task डाल सकते हैं. आप फेज मैनर में उसको मॉनिटर कर सकते हैं, जो हम लोग बोल रहे थे मॉनिटरिंग एंड ट्रैकिंग, सो ये मॉनिटरिंग एंड ट्रैकिंग के लिए बहुत हेल्प करता है. Then comes Zoho. Now Zoho is something which is easily available and it is an entire project management tool. And it's very easy also. It is affordable, it is feature rich tool, it is very easy to adopt because it is very user friendly. It is very user friendly in the sense you just click and you can start. It helps you in a very user friendly manner. And the scalability is high for educational institutions. So educational institutions can look for Zoho for an entire project management software where they can have all their communications, they can have all their Gantt charts, they can have all their tasks, they can all have all their resources, they can do all the resource allocation. So everything comes, it will be automatic and it will be easy to implement. Then comes Microsoft Teams for Education, which I believe most of the educational institutions are already using. और आप सब इसमें ही अपने चैट करते हो, आपके वीडियो होते हैं, आपके असाइनमेंट्स हैं, आपके कोलैबोरेटिव स्पेसेस भी हैं जहाँ टीचर और स्टूडेंट्स शेयर करते हैं ये स्पेस. सो दिस इज very user friendly also, I think, and Microsoft Teams was used during the COVID times also, so it becomes very easy. Of course, there are other modes. WhatsApp use करते हैं लोग, कुछ लोग Zoom use करते हैं, कुछ लोग Slack भी use करते हैं. So there are many different modes, and there are many different project management tools, but I haven't put everything here so that it will be easy for us to go forward. So I've just simplified this approach. Now what happens when you use this project management tools, आपका productivity increase हो जाता है. So schools using PM tools report significant efficiency gains. हम लोग क्यों project management कर रहे हैं? ताकि हमारा efficiency बढ़े, हमारे team का efficiency बढ़े, हमारे teachers का efficiency बढ़े. So these all things will really help in moving forward. So if you see, the efficiency will increase. 67% is a good efficiency increase. Now the key features which we need to look for are the real-time collaboration capabilities. Real-time collaboration is very important. अगर आपके पास कुछ है, कोई टूल पहले से ही है, आप उसको कैसे इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो, कैसे आप उसको कोलैबोरेट कर सकते हो, ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. Mobile accessibility for the on-go updates. You need the live updates to go, right? Then integration with existing school systems. आपके सिस्टम पहले ही हैं, उसमें भी अगर आपको कुछ ऐड करना है तो आप सोचोगे कि मैं इंटीग्रेट करके, ताकि आपका जो overall cost of the project will not be very high, right? Now, you can also have the customizable templates for education projects. So, अगर आपके पास कस्टमाइजेबल टेम्पलेट्स है तो आपको पता है करिकुलम के लिए यही टेम्पलेट है तो मैं यही यूज करूंगा, सॉफ्टवेयर रीडिजाइन के लिए यही टेम्पलेट है तो मैं यही यूज करूंगा. फिर आपका लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम के लिए आपका एक डिफरेंट टेम्पलेट हो सकता है, तो आप वो टेम्पलेट ही फिर वो आप रीयूज कर सकते हैं, उसको आप कस्टमाइज कर सकते हैं. सो दिस एक्चुअली it will help us in our time management, which is again a very important part of our project management, because we are doing all this to manage our time also efficiently so that our projects are going on in a time bound way, right? We have already seen the Gantt chart template. Now, when we say best practices or आपके key takeaways, which we told at the start that we will have all our key takeaways, because I think we are nearing our time completion. So we can foster the collaboration. Regular team check-ins, very important. प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट में आपको रेगुलर टीम चेक इन्स करना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. आपकी टीम को कुछ क्लैरिटी नहीं है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, आपने ये प्रोजेक्ट आपने इनिशिएट तो कर दिया है बट कहीं पे कुछ इश्यूज है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू चेक. इससे आपका प्रोजेक्ट का एफिशिएंसी और बढ़ता है. शेयर्ड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, लाइक हमने बोला MS टीम्स में हम शेयर कर सकते हैं डॉक्यूमेंट. आप गूगल वर्क स्पेस में भी शेयर कर सकते हो. रियल टाइम में आपका डॉक्यूमेंट शेयर होता है, गूगल शीट्स, गूगल वर्ड. सो यू कैन जस्ट शेयर योर डॉक्यूमेंट. सो दैट ऑल्सो हेल्प्स अ लॉट. देन ओपन कम्युनिकेशन चैनल्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हमने बोला communication management is a very important aspect of project management. So open communication channels provides more clarity, more focus to the entire team. So when your team is focused, the goals achieved are very high. Now, communicate clearly, very important part. Very important part. आपका communication बहुत clear होना चाहिए. Weekly progress reports. It can be bi-monthly also, it can be monthly also. But we always suggest that you have weekly progress reports. Because weekly progress report is something where your project will not go in lag. नहीं तो पता चला आपने मंथली में देखा और आपने देखा ऑलरेडी आप लोग 1 महीने 2 महीने पीछे हो रहे हो क्योंकि आपका फंड नहीं आया, आपका पर्टिकुलर रिसोर्स नहीं आया, तो आप पीछे हो गए हो, या फिर वो करिकुलम डिजाइन नहीं हो पाया ठीक से. सो फॉर दैट प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट विल रियली हेल्प. सो योर मैनेजमेंट विल हैव द वीकली प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट, विल नो वेर यू आर लैगिंग, वेर योर you need some support, that can also be provided. If you need some extra resources, of course that will come with a cost, but if the project is that important, we have to even look into that aspect. Now, stakeholder updates. Stakeholder updates, again, we have a project management report kind of thing, which is which floats across. Maybe you can decide monthly also. So that will give an entire update. So everybody, whoever is involved in the project, will have the access to it and will know where the project is moving. Transparent decision making. At times, decision making is required because if there is some issue, so what happens is immediate action can be taken and immediately the decision making will happen. So this will, if you communicate clearly, if you don't hide the issues, you will get good outputs by having a good decision making in place, so that that particular issue will be resolved or that particular risk will be mitigated. Now, coming to risk, because we were speaking about the risks, very important part. You have to identify the potential obstacles early in the project. Even in the initiation phase, when the project charter is made, some of the risks are identified there itself. So, identifying the potential obstacles is very important. Develop the contingency plans. If a particular resource is not going to come, do you have another resource who can take up the same assignment? So maybe this resource is absent or has resigned, then you can bring up the new resource and you can just have the continuity in the project so that your project is not disturbed. You are always in the continuity mode. Now, monitor and adapt continuously. We have seen monitoring, tracking is very important aspect. So that is even in the risk. So what you have to do? You have to monitor the risks also, and you have to adapt immediately. Okay, fine. This is not taking place. Or if there is a disaster, so this thing has happened, so I have to immediately move on. I have to see what next and apply it. So, with this, I just come to the phase wherein, we can have an open discussion. We can have some question answers.
Thank you, ma'am, for your best presentation on this topic. I request all the participants to discuss with our resource person, madam. You can unmute and discuss on the today's topic, project management in education.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Dr. BETKAR, sir, Principal, sir. Wonderful presentation, and definitely your wide experience, what you have reflected over here in a very short time. And wonderful, and all the best for your next, the whatever the endeavors are there. So thank you very much. My two questions are there. I'm not much about the, knowing about the project work and all those aspects, but I'm a doctor basically. So we are having projects, means our hospitals or some OPDs or something like that. My two questions are there. What I could understood from your lecture. My question is, if suppose I'm getting new ideas in my project, whatever initially we have decided, that is there, but I I want to introduce new ideas and new concepts over there. So, is there any possibility that once we have decided, we have done planning, thorough planning, is there any possibility that I can modify because of the for the betterment of my business or something like that? Can I modify? That is my first question. And second question is regarding the the cost of the material, cost of the resources increases with the timeline. So if I started my project, today in 2025, and it is going to get finished by 2028. So if there is inflation in between, so how we could manage? Can we consider that inflation prior only, and then we can go further, or what we can do? Basically, these are my basic questions. I'm very sure because I'm not much with this kind of project works and other things. Thank you.
Yeah. So, firstly, I will answer your first question, and I also want to put up a statement here that project management people think is only for organizations or for business related concepts, but project management is everywhere. Even for example, in hospital industry, project management is used effectively because you also have certain projects which are going on, and I had seen some projects going on in UAE also in hospitals where they were using the software tool called as Primavera. Actually, I have mostly used Primavera also. That is a project management tool. So they use it extensively. So even in your hospital industry also it is used. And the first question which you told me is that if there are any change, there is change in ideas, how we can bring about these changes in the project. So I spoke about the methodology, wherein I told that there is a waterfall methodology and there is a agile methodology. So when I say the agile methodology, this is the methodology where you can bring in your ideas in between, because this project goes in sprint, so it will goes in an iterative manner. So here your ideas will be taken in and it will go in a manner. Whereas what happens in the phased approach, because that time itself the scope is decided, but here it is open for changes. So that you can do in your agile method. Then the next question, can you just repeat the next question?
Regarding the financial resources, the material cost increases with the timeline.
Okay.
And many of the time it happens that, I started, my budget was this much, but now I have to raise my budget, So is there any possibility that, because recently we were going for some projects and it has increased, the expenses keeps on adding. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, actually there is a provision here, because all the projects don't go in the same cost, right? And first of all, you have to even identify this as the part of your risk also, because you are already taking this as a potential risk, because your project is of around 3-year duration. So as you said, the inflation will be there. So there is always that buffer thing will be there, or there will be always approvals. And again, if you see, whenever there is a cost change, there is approvals to be taken from the management. So again, this also comes into the project. That will again come as a task. You have to take the approval and then you can move ahead. So this can be done. And it always happens because you can't imagine a 3-year project to go with the same manner. The material cost increases, the resource cost also increases actually. The non-material cost also increases. We have seen how it moves. So these all things, they have a room in project management. That's the reason, we say that go in a structured manner, because when you go in a structured manner, you have a control on the output. Otherwise we lose control over the project and we say, oh my god, we started the project, but now you see, now it has, like, risen. A 3 crore project can become maybe a 20 crore project also. It happens.
Yeah, and if you are insisting on to the people, the management, if they will insist the same price, I think they may compromise with the quality somewhere. Thank you.
Yeah.
With this, ma'am, thank you very much. Very elaborative explanation you have given. Thank you very much, Dr. Betkar sir and ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, respected Dr. Sir, discussing on this point. आज हमें एक जाहिर करने में अच्छा लग रहा है कि आज हमारा 74th एपिसोड है जब से हमने ये वेबिनार शुरू कर दिया। आज 74th पार्ट है ये सेशन का। ऐसे तो हम 1300 से आगे है, मगर आज ये पार्ट इस साल जो हम शिक्षक दिन के दिन चालू करते हैं, आज का 74वां भाग है, कल 75 है और 20 जनवरी तक के अभी तक इन्विटेशन हमने रिजर्व किए हैं। ये सौभाग्य की बात है कि ये सभी रिसोर्स पर्सन की सहकार्य से, हमारे सहभागियों के सहकार्य से हम आगे चला रहे। कल 75th पार्ट है। तो आज हमारे वीर महेश्वर चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट के डायरेक्टर श्री वीरभद्र जी गणाचार्य जी आज उपस्थित है। आज और कल उनको मैं टाइम निकालने के लिए कहा कि सर 75 डे आ रहा है, आप हमें आशीर्वाद देने के लिए उपस्थित रहे। हम उनका आदर सम्मान करते हैं, स्वागत करते हैं और आशीर्वाद देते हैं। Thank you, sir. With your blessing, we will continue this series in future also. Now the dais is open for all. Kindly unmute themselves and they can discuss with our resource person. Thank you. धन्यवाद मैडम। ये प्रोजेक्ट क्या है, व्हाट इज द प्रोजेक्ट, हाउ इट इज यूजफुल टू इन एजुकेशन, हाउ वी कैन चेंज द एकेडमिक background of academic increment in the projects. Also, what are the difficulties, which methodology should be adopted. You have also given example of a case study also. What are the financial provisions, how it will be checked in between so that it will should be successfully implemented. So all these basic points are you have explained here. We are all teachers, we are doing our theory, and you have said that the project are the practical approach of the theory which we are learning. We have a great outcome as per your opinion for the organization. The projects are very useful. If the teachers encourage the students to file the project, to think on the project for a growth, any point, on any point, education, maybe outreach or maybe outcome of education. So this will be effective method, and you have given a detail about the projects. So we all will try to implement in our education. I am thankful to you. I am thankful to all the participants, especially Dr. Swanand Shukla ji, because he is very active participant and active medicinal practitioner and professor of the homeopathy. And also he will try to do some projects in his field also from this. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all. Thank you to our director Veerbhadra Ganacharya ji for joining here. Thank you to all participants. And feedback link is available. Participants are requested to fill the feedback link. In future also you can deliver a talk. You are always welcome. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and it will be really great if I can be instrumental in implementing project management in education and any of the sectors. So it will be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. I had displayed my details on the screen so we can stay connected.
Yes, I will share in the group detail because the slide I can take screenshot and I can share in the group.
Yeah, should I share it again?
I will share in the group because there are only 20% are there, but others can reach in the group. Huh? Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. थैंक यू आदरणीय गणाचार्य जी, हमारे गुरुदेव, आपने हमें आशीर्वाद दिया है, हमें आशीर्वाद मिले हैं, हम भविष्य में ऐसी प्रगति करेंगे, आपका आशीर्वाद रहे। और अच्छा लगा आज की आज 74 के दिन आज उपस्थित है और कल भी आप उपस्थित रहेंगे। आपको मैं निमंत्रित करता हूँ और विनती करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।